Hello and welcome everyone to An Open Window. This is episode 1. I'm so happy to finally be starting this. If you are listening, I do really appreciate it. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. So, just for some ASL for all my Omegle fans out there. Jesus Christ, when the hell was I on Omegle last? Maybe like 2011? Oh, and that was 8 years ago. Good Lord. All right, well, anyways, hello. My name's Jason. I'm a 23-year-old boy, man, child sometimes. I was born in California. Then about 2 or 3 months into me being there, I got flown over to Texas, and I've been here ever since. It's been quite a while. I started off in San Antonio and then swiftly moved over to the Pflugerville area, then to somewhere by Anderson Mill. And now I live not really a stone's throw away from there. It's quite far away, but still in a similar area. So just for some background, pretty close to Austin. I'm like 40 minutes away. If you know nothing about Texas, it's like 40 or 50 minute drive from where I am to go into the heart of downtown. And again, just for a couple of things that I like to do for information purposes, obviously, is I've done a couple of internet business things, and it seems to be the thing that really makes me super happy is to do things for myself and not do things for other people. Not in a selfish way, but just like a whole personal fulfillment. I like putting in hard work, and I like getting rewarded for it, and I feel like that is an opinion that doesn't necessarily mesh well with the traditional, go to college, get a job, house, car, kids, old, look back and you're like, fuck, I didn't really get anything done because I was working for somebody else my whole life. And I recently heard something. It was 2 things, in fact. The first one is you'll never be rich while renting out what the fuck? You'll never be rich if you're renting out your time, especially to somebody else. So, I'm definitely trying not to get, hella rich. I don't want to be unnecessarily rich because I'm kind of... Having too much money scares me just as much as not having enough money scares me. My sweet spot would really just be comfortable enough for maybe the rest of my life and just not having to worry about it and just being able to focus on, staying happy and healthy and positive and saying good affirmations and making sure my friends are taken care of and making sure that, they're all happy and healthy. And I got a pretty tight group of friends, and we're all like that already for the most part. The only thing that's missing from all of us for the most part is, just some cheddar. But the other thing that I did here as well, that really, they said on the podcast I was listening to, it was, oh man, it was Joe Rogan and Naval. His last name started with an R. And that dude really had some crazy insight. I really was left super inspired by that podcast. But near the end of it, he said this quote from Confucius. And I'm not really sure where Confucius was from or when he was around. I would assume ancient Greece or Rome, somewhere along those lines. But he said every man has 2 lives. And the second one starts when he realizes he only has one. And I really think that that's been really hitting me pretty hard recently. Just the whole, I know I'm only 23, but I'm 23. And, I'm very aware of the fact that this is the only chance that we get. Why am I going to, rent out my time? Or why am I going to, do anything that's going to make me unhappy? Because if I think about it, and this is one of the things that has pushed me to really want to do all these things that I want to do for myself, like this podcast especially, is picture yourself 70 years from now, you had a healthy life, and you have dedicated yourself to, having a family. Definitely nothing wrong with that. But going in my opinion, going a traditional route, like I said, college, kids, car, all of those things, like seldom a vacation, always busy, constantly working, 9 to 5, 5 days a week, 50 years. You're like 80 years old, 85, and you're on your deathbed. Maybe you're 95, 100, 120, who knows? But really think about the things that you're going to be thinking about when you're in that place. And would you want, I know it sounds morbid and it sounds kind of fucked up, but like, do you want to have regrets? Do you want, because I mean, there are things and opportunities that you have to, brush to the side because you need to do things. Like, you need to make sure that certain things happen. They just have to happen. And I mean, from my standpoint and how I look at it is, do I want to look back on all the things that I had accomplished for myself that I wanted to do, made sure that I made my friends happy, and I lived a fulfilled life with this one opportunity that I got, and I made the most of it? Or do I want to be sitting there regretting, saying like, I wish I would have taken my friendships more serious. I wish that I would have had more time with my family, like as far as going on vacation or, just the quote unquote sacrifices you must make in order to achieve some sort of happiness. And to me, I don't necessarily believe that you need to sacrifice in the sense like sacrifice, like, because I'm not a religious person by any means, but when I heard from, I think it was Jordan Peterson, when I heard from him, he was delving into the psychological meaning of the Bible and like it's the moral of the story rather than taking it at face value and trying to interpret now what they were trying to say then. Almost like if you were to watch Pinocchio or anything like that, it's like it's a rehash of an old human story where, you got to dive into the belly of the beast, do those things. You got to fight the dragon, get the virgin, whatever. Like, essentially, they're all just rehashings of like stories that humans connect to on an emotional and physiological level because it's been a part of our DNA and shit like that for eons. And for some reason, we just really relate to those. But he had said that, the way they used to sacrifice animals and things like that, they would, especially if they were getting rid of, like they're good animals, like the best goat on the farm. We got to sacrifice him in hopes that the rain is going to come. You have to kind of pick and choose your battles, obviously. And I feel like you need to make diligent and responsible decisions and have a level head and not be so impulsive, be mindful about what's actually going on. And so the whole concept is essentially like, you sacrifice something good in the hopes for something better. And in my opinion, I feel like the risk and the benefit of doing something for myself and how I'll feel afterwards and the time I'll get to spend with my girlfriend and her family and my dad and all the free time that I could have and all the fulfilling work that I could do. Because I really love getting things done. I really enjoy it. I don't enjoy it if it's in the pursuit of someone else, because I feel like that whole, that old saying, like, I make a dime while I make someone else $1. Like, in that sense, but even just the principle of, like, you'll always be so far down the ladder because you won't, quote unquote, or not quote unquote, but like air quotes, be on top is, I mean, it's like asinine to me. Like, I just don't understand. You'll never get the recognition you deserve from your superiors. Now, when I say never and from your superiors, you may have different people in your life that 100% bend over backwards and they do those things for you and they make you feel valued and all those things. I've never had that opportunity. So if you are in that sense, I'm definitely not trying to smite anybody in that position because, people are all different. But I have never been blessed with that situation. And it's not only the angst from, authority or people telling me what to do, because I don't necessarily think I have a problem with those things, but I feel like the negative association I've had with those kinds of things definitely haven't helped. But I started playing guitar when I was young. I've been playing guitar for about 10 years this year, I think, in December. And, or maybe it was 10 years last year. It might have been December 2008 that I started. I'm not sure. But either way, getting your hands on something and doing it, or just a hobby in any capacity, can really change your perspective when you legitimately fall in love with something and you're like, holy shit, I want to do this forever. I don't know how, I don't know why, I don't know in what capacity, but I want this thing to be done. And I guess for me, the thing that really got the ball rolling was being a musician and getting, doing the things myself. I was the only one making myself practice at that point when I fell in love with it. I took no lessons. I did everything online by myself, watching YouTube videos, playing my favorite songs, figuring all these things out. And after a year and a half, recently within the last month and 10 days or so, I picked my guitar up. I've been playing hours a day. I feel like it's really had a positive impact on just the things that were going on in my head in general. But I think for me, it was this sense of, I have this thing, I love this thing, I'm the only person that's going to get this done for myself. And I think that idea has kind of stuck for me, where I want to do that. And I've been watching YouTube for 10 years. I see those people, not necessarily the things that they accumulate or the wealth that they accumulate or the community or the notoriety, because I won't be facetious. Those things do at least seem from an outside perspective like they would be great things. I understand the complications of always being in the public eye and people know where you are and what you're doing, and they will impede on your privacy because they want to post a picture of you on Instagram, or they want to, show up at your house and, raise some hell just to record it and put it on YouTube or some shit like that. But I mean, all that aside, just the freedom that they seem to have, the freedom that they seem to gain by doing something for themselves and it working out because they worked their ass off. They were in a shitty situation, maybe a similar one that I'm in right now, and they said, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to do what I need to do to get by for now. But in the meantime, I'm going to put all my energy into this shit that I want to do. Whether it's building furniture or starting a podcast or doing makeup or cutting people's hair, fucking anything. The whole point of this podcast for me, and really, I'm recording this as a redo of the intro that I put, but I might just make this the podcast because I'm feeling some type of way. I'm feeling inspired just by the things that I'm saying, and I hope that it's getting across because I really feel these things deep in my soul. Today's June 15th. Me and my girlfriend started this month of discipline today, and she's a photographer. I would say she's a professional. She pays all her bills through photography. She's a successful entrepreneur as far as success goes. But she's gone doing her shit, and it makes me inspired to be here. I have the house to myself. I'm here to do my shit. I'm sick of the place that I'm in mentally and physically with, where I've chosen to work and where I've chosen to get my fulfillment from. And that's just not it. I'm done with that shit. I want to be a different person. I don't want to say these things too much because I'm a little bit in the woo-woo camp of like, be careful what you say and watch what you think, because it almost seems like imagination is like, it's a bunch of thoughts going through your head, and the same goes for just thinking words as well. But you could, to help paint the picture, is like, it's a sea of things, and say you're going fishing for them, like just having a casual daydream thought, you're casting your line into this like imagination river, and it hits something and you feel some type of way. You start reeling in the line and you put in the work, like, what is this? I want to see what this is. And you have the thought, you go through the proper steps to potentially make it manifest, and it could 100% turn into the thing that you've been wanting. So when I say I want to be a different person, I want to feel different than how I've been feeling. I want to be able to get happiness and fulfillment through myself and the things I struggle with, like working hard in the gym for a better body and for a better, mental image of myself. Read more for my articulation, and obviously if I'm taking up my time if I'm reading. And I want to work for myself. I want to promote positivity, and I want this to be a space and a community where people can come and they feel this way, or they feel a similar type of way. They can have a place to just go and fucking like decompress and maybe get some inspiration where they can be like, fuck man, this guy's changing his shit. I want to change my shit too. And I don't know, man, I really am feeling some type of way. I'm so ready. I really am just so ready. I'm going to work my ass off this month. You guys will hear about it. I'll be keeping you guys up. And whatever episode comes out past July 19th, when we get done, hopefully I can reflect on the past month and I can let you guys know some of the metrics, because I'm going to be going to the gym super hard, more than I have been. I'm going to stretch, meditate, read. I'm going to work on this podcast. I'm going to work on YouTube videos. I'm just going to do as much as I possibly can to change as much as I can in a month. Make some good habits. Feel like a different person. And the first step for me is starting this podcast and letting you guys know a little bit about myself. As far as the title goes, An Open Window, I feel like this is a great introduction. I just really want to be able to open up my head like it's an open window, and you can just stick your head in and kind of at least hear what I'm thinking and maybe feel what I'm feeling, and just realize that, you only got one chance at this fucking thing. And please don't waste your potential on feeling like you need to do things for other people. Live your life like you're the star in a movie. You don't want to see a 2-hour-long movie that would encompass 50 years of someone's life, and all you see is struggle after struggle. They don't do anything to change anything about what's going on, and then the movie's over and they're dead. Like, what kind of satisfaction would you get from watching a movie like that? And now think of what kind of satisfaction you would get or you are getting from living a life like that. Like, if that feels like that's something that you want to be doing, by all means. But I want this place to be a place for the people that are in a different boat, that feel helpless and like they can't get out of their situation, and maybe they don't know how. And I want this to be a place where they can, like I said, decompress and potentially escape for a minute from all the shit that goes on. There's a cat meowing. I don't know which one is it. Cosmo. I hope you guys can hear that. He's such a happy little cat. But Oh my gosh. Come here. Cosmo. He just wants to yell at me. He's hiding on the other side of the bed, so I can't see him and he can't see me. But he's meowing for me. But in any event, I want this to be a place where people can come and decompress. I also want this to be a place where people can come together and collaborate on getting out of their situations and finally doing the things that they want to do for themselves in any stretch. I'm going to be talking about a lot of the things that I'm dealing with throughout the life of this podcast, and I don't want it to be like a magnifying glass of, yes, here's my life, here's all the things I'm dealing with, get so enveloped in my life that, you know, I'm more important than you are or something like that. The point of this podcast for me is to say those things and bare my soul so that people can get their perspective changed, so that people can look at somebody who maybe is a similar age to them, who might be feeling some type of way, and can look at somebody that's literally sitting in the same seat as them, doing something to change, and looking and seeing, man, maybe that hard work is worth it. And here I am looking at somebody who has put in, or who will be putting in hard work to change their life, to change their surroundings. And maybe I could do it too. So I know that this is more than likely going to be a solo podcast. I know that, you know, sometimes those things can get boring. It's just someone talking about their day to day. It's like an audio vlog without actually seeing anything. You're just like, yeah, and on Wednesday I went to the movies. I saw Avengers and it was cool. And then I came home and had some tacos. I don't want that to be what this is about. I really want it to get it to the point where I can just riff off of people's questions or how they're feeling and relate to them on some level. And maybe, you know, maybe my perspective on something will be something they haven't thought about. And I also hope that me putting my perspective out there will get people to reach out to me so that I can change how I think about certain things. But yeah, I mean, realistically, I have an entire script that I was going to read or some bullet points. I honestly feel like introduction enough is what you just heard come out of my mouth. It's 100% raw, straight from my heart. I'm just staring at the waveforms on Audacity. Yeah. In any event, I really appreciate you all listening to this. I really appreciate it. This will be step one in me changing my life, hopefully, for the better and for the rest of my life. And I hope you guys want to hop on the train with me and potentially change some things about your life as well. Because like I've said multiple times, you only have one shot. Please don't waste it. Alrighty. Thank you so much for listening. Episode 2 should be out a week from now. At this point, I've already recorded it. It's also a pretty heavy one. It's about work. I know I kind of covered that a lot. And I'm going to re-listen to that after I edit this one to make sure I'm not repeating myself too much. But I do appreciate you guys listening. And hopefully this is step one of many on my change. And I hope that it can also be the step one for you if you've been looking for something as well. Thank you so much for listening. I will have all my social medias or whatever in the description. Just let me know if you're feeling some type of way or if this helped you or anything. Feel free to get in contact with me. I appreciate everything. And yeah, I'll catch you guys next week with episode 2. Adios.